Mr. Desmond Lee.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to return back to the earlier clarification that I'd sought, and the Leader of the House mentioned that after the PM's speech, he would let us know where he saw in the report the reference to that specific term, weaponized. I asked because it is a very specific word. It's a very specific way of characterization, and this is important for the integrity of the COP process. The initial draft read as follows. Mr. Singh essentially weaponized unsubstantiated allegations that Ms. Khan was unstable and unreliable and that she was prone to lying because of her mental health, and this was connected to her being a sexual assault victim, unquote. But in the report before this House, which is the only public report put out, at page 58, para 176, subpara 4, it says, I quote, Mr. Singh then alleged that Ms. Khan had mental health problems and suggested that she was predisposed to lying, so on and so forth, unquote. So that phrase was debated in committee, and we decided to remove it, and this is what you see. So Mr. Singh would not have reference to this specific term unless somehow earlier drafts were shared with him. So can he confirm or deny that people told him about the drafts? So that's my first clarification. I have a clarification to make after this.
Mr. Singh.
Mr. Speaker, I beg your pardon. Indeed, the word is not in the committee report. And I mentioned earlier that the word weaponized was my characterization of what I saw was that particular paragraph. Indeed, the word is also used publicly. I think there's a Rice Media. I cannot remember whether I read this specifically, but Rice Media has an article which says, now that the claims on Raisa Khan's mental health have been refuted, how do you feel about weaponizing an individual's mental health in an investigation? So generally, that was my characterization of what I saw the COP report was doing, and hence the choice of my usage of the word weaponized. I did not refer in my speech to saying that the report specifically used the word weaponized. I said, the most egregious in my mind is the conclusion that in seeking a psychiatric evaluation for Ms. Khan, I had somehow weaponized her condition. I hope that clarifies.
Just to confirm before this House, Mr. Singh was not referring to any drafts or reference to earlier drafts. No, thank you. Sir, can I just take the second clarification that in his speech, Mr. Singh had said that the Committee of Privileges report somehow was incomplete or inaccurate because it didn't reflect all the evidence that was submitted. There was voluminous material submitted to the committee and transcripts running to the thousands of pages, which we took time and care to go through. He in particular said that the report didn't reflect or didn't capture or didn't include or didn't annex Ms. Loh Pei Ying's and Mr. Yudhishthranathan's contemporaneous views about the formation of the DP as one example of his sense that the COP wasn't complete in its findings. And Mr. Singh had cited a few lines from what Ms. Loh Pei Ying and Mr. Yudhishthranathan had sent him via WhatsApp, and members had heard the exchange earlier. Their responses to him when he messaged them about the DP hearing. So what Mr. Singh omitted to mention were 2 points. First, that Ms. Loh Pei Ying had messaged him to express grave reservations about the DP, as well as Mr. Singh's suppression of material facts concerning his involvement to the DP. And I would like to read to members, because the report annexes all of this. On the 10th of November, I quote, Pei Ying tells Mr. Singh, "Hi Pritam, I've tried to reserve my comment on the disciplinary panel so far, but I just saw the message that was sent out to everyone. I feel that it's plain as day to me and people involved in her apology that this is a little backwards peddling. Clearly, the party didn't anticipate the backlash despite warnings, and it's trying to do something to quell people's anger. While I agree with it, I can empathize with it. I don't think it is at all fair to let party members think they have a say in this process. If this is done as a mock consultation exercise, then party members will be unhappy their opinions weren't really considered. If it is not a mock exercise, then they will likely ask Raisa to resign when they do not have the full facts. I welcome the DP to be transparent and share the involvement in this, their findings barring personal information, so that the party can make an accurate decision. Mr. Pritam Singh replies, I hear you, PY, but I do think we need to give party members a platform to have their say on this important matter rather than commiserate privately or between each other and believe that the party leadership decides things without considering their views. Paying replies, I get that, but the DP hasn't exactly told the party of its knowledge and involvement. Mr. Pritam Singh replies, despite that, it will be good to hear people out. Paying replies, but their opinions are not accurate because they don't have the facts. Everyone is of the view that we can cut her loose and distance the party from her mistake. But if she's out of the party, she's still subjected to the Committee of Privileges, and there's not much we can do to what she says and shares when it gets there. So that is one set of WhatsApp messages that adds more complexion to what Mr. Singh had read out earlier, and which was also raised to Mr. Singh. In fact, it's in the transcripts. If Mr. Singh may remember, at paragraph 10,813, 10,814, as well as 10,815, 16, and 17, where that extract was read out to him and he gave his views. So there's a lot of these material that's annexed in the report. Another response I have is that, in fact, on the same day that DP was formed on the 2nd of November, this is what Ms. Loh Pei-Ying said to Mr. Yudhishthra Nathan via WhatsApp, also contemporaneous, also in evidence. And I read it out to members in case you've not read it. It's in, I think, Annex CC something. I'll give you the numbers later. It's very small, but it says at the bottom, in relation to their discussion with Mr. Singh, immediately they contemporaneously exchanged messages with each other. And Ms. Loh Pei-Ying says, he sent the same message. Pritam told me himself about the disciplinary committee. He didn't say much more. Yudhishthra Nathan said he sent me the same message too. Pei-Ying replies, I wonder why he's informing the both of us though. Pei-Ying says, I asked him if we would be questioned. He said no. OMG, LOL, that didn't cross my mind. I think he wanted to tell us just so that we heard it from him before the party, PG, which is nice, I guess, but I do feel he and Sylvia underestimated the backlash. Funny he made the special effort to tell the both of us, but not Ray. I think he's also being too reactionary. I would have let it simmer for another 2 days, and so on and so forth. At the bottom, it says, here it comes. He is also being dragged. So I don't trust Pritam to put himself above things, LOL. Like, when it affects him personally, I'm worried he will cut the cord. So these and other messages are in the annexes. Some of it is in the evidence, and some of the messages were placed in front of Mr. Singh and some of the other witnesses. They are in the transcripts. So, in a sense, all the evidence, all the exhibits will be placed before the PP, and I welcome Mr. Singh's support that all this will be placed before the PP to be considered, and so that he can clear his name and put his explanation out. Thank you.
Mr. Singh?
Speaker, it still doesn't answer the point that I brought up in my speech about contemporaneous evidence. The fact of the matter is the COP relies on contemporaneous evidence and puts a high probative value on it in certain cases, but Mr. Lee just read out a narration of text messages between Ms. Loh and Mr. Nathan, which is on the record. And my point is, I have submitted documents to the COP which are not on the record. And there's an important difference there. If the committee was minded to send us summons to produce, we produce documents. I have also raised other examples in my speech. I'm not going in my speech. I didn't go into it to the detail that I would have wanted because there is a recommendation to refer the matter to the PP. We are always told that it's important, when a matter is under investigation, let's not comment too much. I think I should be given that right as well, but Prime Minister has gone one step further and said, go to trial. I mean, that's certainly Prime Minister's view. I certainly expect a fair hearing, but my point still comes back to the point I made in my speech, and I do not believe Mr. Lee's clarification deals with it. What I would request is for the committee to return all those documents to me. I made a request to Speaker on Friday that all that evidence which I submitted, including the cover letter, is returned to me. I don't believe I mentioned cover letter, but I mentioned documents, but the cover letter is part of it. And I hope this will be done, because that's not in the Committee of Privileges' report.
I will just say in response to that, Mr. Speaker, that the committee did not rely purely on contemporaneous messages. It looked at the whole suite of action or inaction. That is quite plain from the report. Be that as it may, all the evidence submitted by all witnesses was placed before the committee, was referred to. We assessed the evidence, we came to our conclusions, and we placed it in the report. But all material, including material that the relevant witnesses, including from the Workers' Party leadership, had submitted, would be placed before the PP for consideration.
Order. Propose to take a break now. Leader Opposition.
Speaker, can I confirm whether those documents would be returned to me?
We will respond to you
You're
formally.
asking Chairman, or the Chairman will respond
The committee
to
will respond to you
formally.
formally on that. Order. Propose to take a break now. I suspend the sitting and we'll take the chair at 6:15 p.m. Order. Order.